A special thank you to Victoria Lynn for making this video possible. Without this tripod, I don't know where I would be in life, so thank you. Hello, my beautiful YouTube family. Oh my goodness, it's been a minute since I have filmed a video. Wow. And I can tell that I'm a little bit out of practice. But this is June and we are celebrating because the Revolution cover has officially been revealed. Oh my goodness. I'm so excited with how it turned out. It is gorgeous. I can't wait for y'all to get your copies of the Revolution on July 7th, 2022. It's going to be here in no time. For today's video, I thought it would be fun to do a Tales of Tarzarella chat. I don't know if you remember, a few years back, I did a coronation chat right here on my YouTube channel. So basically how it works is I went through the entirety of the coronation, revealed the chapter titles, and then I asked questions based on the chapter titles. So it's kind of a Q&A with myself. I tried to think of the most random and interesting questions that popped into my mind as soon as I read the chapter titles, so you're welcome. Because this book is so massive, I'm not able to do every single chapter title, so I think we're probably only going to do like 20 chapters, which, believe it or not, is like not even halfway through. I mean, this thing is so big. Okay, so let's dive right into this. Chapter 1, Summertime Visitors. What are your summer plans? My summer plans are definitely not set in stone yet. My first priority is obviously this book release in July. On the 4th of July, I'm also going to have hopefully a big party with my family. If you've been around the YouTube channel for a while, you know how much I love the 4th of July and how I love to go all out. So yes, it's very likely we'll have a big 4th of July celebration. We do have some family things up in Michigan this summer, which will probably be going up north for that. We may do a little bit of traveling, who knows? Chapter 2, Angels and Fidget Spinners. Okay, so the random question with this chapter title is, do you remember when fidget spinners were a thing? I distinctly remember fidget spinners. I don't know if the trend, how long it lasted, or where exactly in the US it was popular and where it wasn't, or if it became a worldwide phenomenon. I have no idea, but I just very distinctly remember my younger cousin. One summer, he was obsessed with fidget spinners, and he would play with them 24/7. And so it kind of became a little pet peeve of mine that I thought would be fun to work into this story. Chapter 3, Tough Tattoos. Would you ever get a tattoo? And the answer is absolutely not. I'm so anti-needle, like I would not intentionally want to cause myself pain for any reason, so no, I wouldn't do that. Chapter 4, The Race to Bellington. Without giving any spoilers, the Bellington is an ancient tradition in Tarzarella. It is a horse race kind of similar to our Kentucky Derby. So my question with that chapter title is, have you ever been to a horse race? And the answer is yes. I remember when I was like 8 or 9, our family lived in Kentucky for a while. We were in Lexington, so we were in the horse capital of the world. We were right next to Churchill Downs, and we actually went to a lot of horse races, which was super fun. And now with me living in Tennessee, that's one of the things that's left on my bucket list for being in this state is I would love to go back to Kentucky because it's not that far and watch some horse races. I think that would be so fun. I totally relate to Chastity and her love for horses and horse racing. I just think it's such a fun sport. Chapter 5, an Addison original. Who's your favorite character from the Tales of Tarzarella? I get asked this question a lot, and I always answer Jane. She is one of my favorite characters, but I thought instead I should say who's my favorite sibling in the royal family, and I think I have to say Millie. She's adorable. I love her. She's my favorite. Who's your favorite? Comment below and let me know. Chapter 6, Raging Rapids. Would you ever go whitewater rafting? And the answer is probably not. It looks so scary to me. I don't know, just the idea of like trying not to die as you're going down the rapids, because like I've seen horror stories of like people flipping out and then like going headfirst into the water and getting stuck on a rock and drowning. So I don't know, like I'm sure it would be fun if you could manage to stay in your raft, but I'm not sure if I would do that. Let me know. I don't know if I can add a poll here or something, but definitely let me know if you would love to do that or if you would stay away from that activity. Chapter 7, Up in Flames. Have you ever witnessed a real fire or had a fire in your house? Now, thankfully, we've been very protected from fires over the years, and we only ever had a tiny, tiny little kitchen fire. I remember I was maybe like 11 or 12, and I was staying home alone with my brother, and at that age, it was like a big deal to be able to be left alone by yourself while your parents were gone. And so I think my brother was making like grilled cheese or something, and we ended up, something caught on fire. And it was like one of those moments where I saw my life flash before my eyes, and I was like, the kitchen's gonna burn down while my parents are gone. This is great. But thankfully we put it out really quickly with a towel. Like, it just went out super fast, and we were fine. And I don't think we told my parents for a while because, I don't know, we just didn't want them to freak out about it. But yeah, so that was the only fire. It was super tiny. Got taken care of in a couple seconds. No big deal. Okay, moving on to chapter 8, and we have the Battle of Bellington. Would you ever bet on a horse race? I don't know. I've always thought that would be really fun, like if you had a horse that you were rooting for, but that's technically gambling, so I don't know if I should really do that, but it just sounds fun to like be that invested with a horse and put money into it and see what happens. And then if you won, like, oh my goodness, that'd be so exciting. But I probably wouldn't do that, but it sounds fun. Chapter 9, Johnny Saves the Zoo. I'm sorry, sometimes I just get so amused by my own chapter titles. I'm like, how did I come up with that? Are you a fan of the zoo? You know, I haven't been to the zoo since I was really little, and I'd love to go as an adult just to like re-experience it. But I think I would be a fan of the zoo. I mean, animals are fun. The zoo wouldn't be like my top priority place of like things I want to do. It's not necessarily on my bucket list, but yeah, I don't mind the zoo. Chapter 10, The Bridge. Favorite bridge you've ever been on? We have a really cool bridge in northern Michigan. It's called the Mackinac Bridge. It's kind of cool. The Natural Bridge in Kentucky is also really cool as well. Chapter 11, Raindrops and Waffles. And now for the question of all questions. Are you team waffles or team pancakes? Drum roll, please. I'm definitely team waffle, 100%. I've never been a big pancake person. I don't know if it's just the texture or the fact that it doesn't really fill you up. You have to eat like 10 pancakes to get filled up. But I love waffles so much. Waffles are like my love language. They're amazing. Chapter 12, Steve's Surprise. Okay, so rather than having a question for this, I just thought I should give you a little backstory on Steve. The funniest thing about Steve, and I did not even realize this as I went from book 1 to book 2, is that I had never mentioned, or at least I'm pretty sure there was maybe like 1 or 2 mentions, but it wasn't a very frequent mention of the king's name. And so when we got to book 2 and I was talking about Steve, all of a sudden people were very confused. They're like, who is Steve? Is this Blue's Clues? What is happening right now? But Steve is actually Stephen is his full name. He's not just King Steve, he's Stephen. And he's the king of Tarzarella, before Addison takes over. So anyway, I never really explained that. I realized transitioning from book 1 to book 2, I was like, oh, I should have probably made that a bit more clear. But in case you were wondering, Steve is King Stephen, Addison's father. There you go. Chapter 13, A Simple Trail Ride. Here's a fun question. When is the last time you've been horseback riding? And before a couple weeks ago, I would have had to say that it was when I was 12, but thankfully I just went horseback riding on our Glory Riders retreat, and it was so much fun trail riding through the mountains. It was seriously a dream come true. I loved it, so yeah, that was the last time. Chapter 14, Teardrops and Oreos. What's your favorite dessert? I actually am not a massive dessert person. I love chocolate. I love brownies. I'll always go for brownies. But really it's probably ice cream. Like, ice cream is my favorite. It's my weakness. I'll go for ice cream. But as far as like cakes and pies and donuts, candy, things like that, like it's okay, but it's not really my favorite. Chapter 15, Ticket to Bella Adar. Where would you rather have a one-way ticket to, Tarzarella or Bella Adar? I really have to think about that one. Yeah, that's a tough one. I feel like the countryside of Bella Adar and like being on the ocean and everything is so, so beautiful. Oh, by the way, in case you're new here and you're like, what the heck is Bella Adar? Bella Adar is the main country that is in the Regal Heart series. Tarzarella is the Tales of Tarzarella. So anyway, I feel like the scenery is just gorgeous in Bella Adar. But if I were going to live in a castle, I would choose, well, I don't know. I mean, I love the Palace of Tarzarella. It's like mind-blowingly amazing. But if you were actually going to live there, I don't know. I might choose Bella Adar because like the castle is like very quaint and like medieval. And then if you gave it like a facelift and kind of fixed some stuff, gave it a little renovation, that would be super fun. So I don't know. I may regret this later, but I think I'm going to go with Bella Adar. Let me know what you would choose. Would you choose Tarzarella or Bella Adar? Tarzarella is probably the smarter choice, but yeah. Chapter 16, The New Kids. Have you ever been the new kid? Oh yes, many times. We did a lot of moving. Not really, well, we didn't move until I was like 15. That was the first time we moved, and then after that, that was like my first experience of being a brand new person, because otherwise I had always lived in Michigan. So yeah, I have definitely been the new kid. What about you? Have you moved a lot, or did you just grow up in the same place your whole life? Chapter 17, Peaceful Protest. Have you ever been part of a protest? I can't say that I ever have been protesting in the streets. I went to a worship protest, which they technically called it a protest, but it was like a worship event. So if that counts, then yes. But as far as like marching, picketing in the streets, I haven't ever done that. Chapter 18, And So It Begins. Question, favorite Taylor Swift song? Okay, let me explain that transition. This is just how my mind works. You're like, Libby, how could you get from that to Taylor Swift? Let me tell you, okay, when I read Begins, I thought of Begin Again. So there we go. That's just how my mind works. My favorite Taylor Swift song, it's probably Love Story, honestly. Chapter 19, Back in the Saddle. Have you ever fallen out of the saddle? Not literally, but had something that you were pursuing, totally failed, messed up, and then you had to get back in the saddle and try it again? I'd better hurry. The lawn mowing men are here. It's about to get really loud. I should have thought of my answers to these questions before I asked myself them. I think in some ways I had to do that a lot with writing, especially when I was first getting started, because I felt like I was coming up against a lot of failure, or at least the feeling of failure. I think in the early years when my internal critic was extremely, extremely loud and I wasn't really the best at turning that voice down and kicking it out, I think that that's probably when I had to continually jump back in the saddle of writing. I would write for a few months and then I'd go back and read what I wrote and just thought it was terrible and, oh, I need to get so much better. And so then every time it was really a mental battle to be like, no, I'm going to keep going. I'm going to get better. I'm going to keep improving and just get back in the saddle and keep writing those words. And now for the final question, Chapter 20, A Love Note. Are you in love? The answer is no. Yes, your girl is still a happy single Pringle, just hanging out here, having fun, doing the things that God's put on my heart to do, and it's been super great. Okay. Alright friends, well that wraps up today's Q&A video. I hope you enjoyed watching this. If you so, definitely drop some comments below. Let me know what you thought. Give me the answers to your questions, my questions, your answers. You know what I mean. And if you want me to do future videos like this, where it's just you and I sitting down in front of the camera, let me know. Thank you again so much for watching. Thank you for all of your support with the revolution. And until next time, keep dreaming. I feel like a princess in a parade. Thank you for being here today.